Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Groundwork Ohio's weekly morning meeting. I'm going to give it just a second for some more folks to trickle in from the waiting room, and then we will get started. All right, welcome. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. Really excited to welcome Veranda Rodgers here, and I will introduce her more fully in just a moment, but we have a really great presentation ahead of us today, and so glad that you all were able to join us to hear this wonderful information and this great work that's happening in Ohio. Real quick at the top, I want to share a budget update with you all. This has been a big week for the state budget. The Senate's version of the substitute bill was released Tuesday afternoon. We did see even deeper cuts to key early childhood investments, services, and programs, in addition to the cuts that we saw with the House's version of the budget. Among them, just a couple highlights. There was an additional $1 million cut to community and local faith-based infant vitality funds, an additional $3.5 million in cuts in fiscal year 27 for Help Me Grow. That's in addition to the $22.5 million from the House's version of the budget. We saw a $1.7 million reduction in the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And then for Part C, early intervention, there were some changes there too, a reduction of $621,000 in fiscal year 26 and nearly $700,000 cuts in fiscal year 27. And this is all in addition to other sustained cuts and eliminations, including the elimination of the proposed child tax credit that continues to remain out of the current version of the budget. And then there was no increase to publicly funded childcare eligibility. And we continue to see the elimination of the law requiring the Ohio Department of Medicaid to seek continuous enrollment for children ages 0 to 3. We did see a couple things, including the restoration of the kindergarten readiness assessment, as well as the elimination of the limitations to Medicaid coverage for doulas. So we were glad to see those pieces, but it is in the midst of kind of all these other additional cuts and changes and sustained cuts. So this week's Senate Finance Committee hearings are continuing, and possible amendments for the omnibus are due Friday the 6th at 12 p.m. And I just want to make clear to everybody that we are not at the end of the state budget yet. We are not there yet. There's still ways that we can get involved, that our lawmakers can hear our voices. Things are not finalized until June 30th. And so there is time to leverage the time that we have left and your voice and perspective for Ohio's youngest children and families. So if you are not already registered, please register and join the Rally for Working Families. This is coming up in just a couple of weeks. June 17th will be on the west lawn of the Ohio State House from 12 to 1 p.m. So just an hour there in the afternoon. This is a really important opportunity for all of us to band together and use our collective voice to tell our elected officials to invest in young children and families. And I see that Dominique dropped that link in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that, Dominique. And we really hope to see you there. So without further delay, I will introduce our esteemed speaker. Professor Veranda Rodgers, MBA, is a dynamic and accomplished leader who's made significant contributions across the fields of health and human services, education, and the nonprofit sector. As the founder, president, and CEO of Pregnant with Possibilities Resource Center and Bloom Behavioral Health, Veranda has dedicated her life to supporting and empowering youth, pregnant women, and mothers through trauma-informed care, mental health services, and advocacy. Veranda is a certified grief recovery specialist through the Grief Recovery Method, a distinction that allows her to provide compassionate support to families navigating loss and grief. She holds a Bachelor of Business Administration and a Master of Business Administration, leveraging her education to build sustainable programs and organizations that create lasting community impact. Her passion for education is evident in her role as an adjunct professor at Cuyahoga Community College, where she teaches business and marketing. She's known for her ability to connect and inspire students. Veranda is admired by both colleagues and learners for her real-world insight and unwavering encouragement. Beyond the classroom, Veranda is an active force in philanthropy and civic engagement. She serves as the board of trustees at Cleveland State University Alumni Association, where she helps foster alumni engagement and support for the university's mission. In 2025, Veranda was recognized as a BPACF 40 Under 40 Emerging Legends Award recipient and honored, celebrating exceptional African-American changemakers between the ages of 25 to 39 who are shifting culture and making meaningful impact in Northeast Ohio. Her dedication to uplifting her community also earned her recognition as the 2022 Outstanding Young Adult Philanthropist of the Year by the Soul of Philanthropy. Veranda proudly shares that her journey from teen mom to CEO instilled in her the strength and resilience needed to overcome any challenge. Her drive, compassion, and unwavering commitment to making a difference continue to inspire others to become the best version of themselves. Her leadership remains a guiding light for her staff, students, and the families and communities that she serves. We are so excited to have you today, Veranda. I will go ahead and turn it over to you. And while you are pulling up your slides, I will just remind everyone to please, as you think of questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll have a little time for Q&A at the end. Veranda, thanks so much.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here before you just to talk a little bit about our work. So thank you to Groundwork and the entire team for this platform, this opportunity. As she mentioned, I am Veranda Rodgers. Pregnant with Possibilities is actually celebrating their 10-year anniversary this year. So we were founded in 2015. We're dedicated to providing culturally competent sexual risk avoidance education for youth. We also support pregnant and postpartum individuals to ensure that they have positive birth outcomes. And this is through goal setting, family planning. We also, our vision focuses on increasing the positive birth outcomes here in the state of Ohio. I'll talk a little bit about the data for those of you who may not know what it looks like for our infant, our child, and maternal health data here in Cuyahoga County. And so our goal is to make sure that youth, babies, expecting, and postpartum women are supported in our state. We do this through our 4 core programs. And the first one is our Youth Comprehensive Sexual Health Program, which we call Endless Possibilities. I'll break each one of these programs down as I go through my slides in my presentation. Our second one is our MOM program, which is our perinatal support program. MOM stands for Making Opportunities Matter. We also have an alumni care and support program, which is called the After Party. And then we have behavioral health services for perinatal individuals, their support persons, and their children through what we call Bloom at PPRC. So Bloom at PPRC is a behavioral health agency that works in tandem with Pregnant with Possibilities. You can only access the behavioral health services through the interlinking of coming through our Pregnant with Possibilities program, because our goal is to eliminate barriers when we talk about perinatal mental health. I'll get into some of that data also as we go through our slides and presentations. If you have questions as I go through, please put them in the chat. I will do my best at the end to answer any questions that you may have for me. So the state of Ohio put up a revised code in section 3313.6, which we went to Cleveland Clinic and said, hey, we have our curriculum that we have implemented for the last 7 years. How can we make it medically accurate? And Cleveland Clinic's Council of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and the Center for Infant Maternal Health came alongside of us and helped expand our sexual health education platform for youth in Northeast Ohio. And so this is an innovative 10-series research-based curriculum, which also has medically accurate healthcare providers who come alongside our program facilitators to administer this curriculum. It focuses on real discussion, knowledge, games, activities, and we also have infant real care simulators that youth are able to take home for 24 to 48 hours. Our is to empower youth with comprehensive knowledge and skills to make informed and healthy choices regarding their sexual health, understanding that 50% of all new STI cases are from youth between the ages of 13 to 17. Our goal is to combat these rates and decrease STIs as well as HIV and AIDS. Next is our MOM program. This is the cornerstone of our efforts, and it's a 13 series group-based hybrid perinatal support program that's designed for pregnant and postpartum individuals. Anyone that is pregnant or has a child who is under the age of 1 is able to enroll in the program. They just have to reside in Cuyahoga County. That is our only criteria. And participants meet on a weekly basis in a safe environment with a culturally trained facilitator who also has the skills of lactation support. They're also certified when it comes to car seat certification and other key things such as nutrition, healthy relationships. This curriculum encompasses prepping, preparing for labor and delivery, also for healing postpartum. Key core outcomes that go along with this program is the group-based model of care, which this model is replicable that we could actually do across the state. We have partnered with managed care plans to provide cohort-based services for those particular for those particular entities to serve their members. So we know it is replicable. We know that it works. We provide one-on-one family planning with our care coordinators who are either certified community health workers as well as social workers. We also provide transportation and rental assistance. We know two of the largest barriers that we see in the state of Ohio is housing as well as transportation. And we want to ensure that our families have access to be able to make their prenatal appointments, their postnatal appointments. And so we provide weekly bus passes. We also have a direct partnership with Lyft where we provide families are able to get up to 4 rides, and they can also get weekly bus passes through this particular program. We also have a full pantry here at our facility. So as they're going through the program, they're able to earn points. Those points allow them to access anything that they would need from inception up until birth. So car seats, pack and play, strollers. We also have diapers, wipes, formula, clothes from 0 to 24 months, bottles, anything that a family needs to meet their basic tangible needs. We also have stress management tools. We have an on-demand 24-hour pre and postnatal yoga platform that families are able to access in the comfort of their own home. Once they complete 2 yoga videos, we will actually provide them with a yoga mat, block, and straps so that they have everything that they need to feel supported. We also incorporate babies in this postnatal yoga journey. So the videos actually show them how to incorporate the baby because we know if mom is stressed, sometimes babies can also feel that stress. So how to incorporate the baby in your practice. We have guided meditation videos that are also a part of this platform and stress management tools such as deep breathing journal prompts as well. Some of the breakdown, and this is the most accurate data that we look at here in Cuyahoga County for 2023. If you're looking at the top of the screen, you'll see the births based upon races. So you'll see all races, Black, Latina, and white, and then you'll see the deaths. So this allows us to focus. So when we look at in 2023, 58.9% of the deaths were encompassed by African American families. However, they made it 50% of the births. When we look at the births based off of, and I'm sorry, I messed that up. African American families made up 58.9% of the deaths, but they made up 32.7% of the births. When we look at the births amongst white families, they made up 50% of the births and almost 30% of the deaths. So, and this information is from the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. When we look at a 3-year average, which is the chart to my right, maybe your left, you'll see some of this aggregate data over the 3-year average. And our goal is to help decrease this. And while across the state, we know in Cincinnati, Columbus, we have seen the numbers decrease, we are working actively here in Cuyahoga County to do the same. The After Party program is our alumni support-based program. It's a year-long program and initiative to unite all of our alumni together, which fosters community support, accountability, and resource sharing. So this program encompasses mentoring, bi-monthly in-person meetups, a strategic family plan. So they start a family plan in their first mom program session when they first come with us. We're now walking alongside them to say, hey, these are some of the things that you said that you wanted to do and you wanted to accomplish. And so those things look like enrolling back in school, securing permanent housing. We also see families who just need to maybe get out of debt, pay some bills off. What happens is they have a giving component of this program. The group saves, right now their giving component is $20 per month. We match that as an organization for whatever the group saves. And every quarter, 3 individuals are randomly selected. They're able to stand up and do a 3 to 5 minute presentation about if they won the money, what they would do with it. Their peers then selects one person that they actually decide to support financially. So this alleviates stress and it empowers families through the program to actually accomplish some of the goals that they said that they wanted to when we look at their family plan. So we're able to check off all of their initiatives so that we know when mom is thriving, then we create thriving families and thriving units. So Bloom Behavioral Health. Bloom, what I'll talk about is in COVID, so 2021, 2022, we looked at our data and we allow our data to drive who we are on a daily, weekly basis. And the data showed that 50% of all of our referrals were for mental health services. We also saw that as we were making these referrals, sometimes there was a disconnect and clients actually utilizing them, whether that was stigma around accessing mental health services. We sometimes saw barriers when it came to certain companies taking insurance managed care plans or insurance types. We also saw long wait times. And so we started saying, hey, how do we combat this? How do we best serve our clients? So we put together a pilot program. We also had the privilege at that time to have a licensed therapist who was actually serving as a contract facilitator in our mom program, who was like, hey, I'm seeing more concerns when it comes to mental health that we could actually be onto something. So we created a pilot project, which was called HOPE. HOPE stands for Healthy Outlooks on the Postpartum Experience. This was a group-based therapeutic initiative to address postpartum depression, anxiety, psychosis, and some of the things that families sees during the postpartum experience that what they may be considered baby blues, normal to some. While pregnancy is a great time for some, it's not for others. So Bloom was created to approach perinatal mental health, encompassing therapy, counseling, mindfulness, and group-based care. And so we believe that we have to serve the ecosystem. Bloom Behavioral Health works in tandem with Pregnant with Possibilities. We are under the same roof. So when families come in for their mom program, they're now meeting licensed therapists during their postpartum. There's a postpartum session within their mom program that sets the segue for therapy. We move them into group-based if they're not ready for one-on-one. We support, as I said, the birthing person, their support partners, and their children by breaking barriers to ensure that that family unit thrives for generations. As we started doing this work, we did what was called tracking. So looking at their intake information that came through on the pregnant with possibility side, looking at certain screeners such as the ACEs, looking at a PHQ-9, the GAD-7, realizing that we needed to support families through this perinatal journey. And so we are committed to ensuring that families has access regardless of their social economic background, that it eliminates barriers to long waiting times. So the longest a family will typically have to wait is no more than 3 to 5 days to get an initial intake if they're experiencing some type of issue. And so that is why Bloom Behavioral Health was created. Also understanding that the data up to 85% of women experience some type of mood disorder. And the reality is that 1 in 5 will suffer from mental health disorder like postpartum depression. And then it goes undiagnosed or untreated. 20% of all postpartum deaths are by suicide because they feel like they're taking on so much that they don't know how to cope, that they don't know how to ask for help. We ask our families sometimes in our mom program, it's like, hey, like I feel overwhelmed. Okay, did you ask for support? Did you ask your, and we help them work through who their support individuals are in their life and utilizing all the resources such as getting meals delivered maybe from their managed care plans or asking for help from their family, utilizing us to stand in the gap. So understanding that 1 in 7 will also experience depression during their pregnancy. That's a high amount. And up to 15% of women living in poverty will also suffer a mental health disorder. Our goal is to combat this by creating a world where mental health is prioritized and accessible, leading to healthier and happier communities. And so we do this through our 4 pillars of care approach. We offer behavioral health services, which is case management, therapeutic one-on-one counseling for individuals and their families, substance use disorder, so SUD treatment, mental health assessments, and crisis intervention. We also have group-based care, which I talked about, HOPE, our HOPE program, Healthy Outlooks on a Postpartum Experience. This is the 5 series in-person group group led, not group led, I'm sorry, year of 5 series program that is group based, that is based off of postpartum depression, creating a coping skill box and ensuring that families have the tools to use when they're outside of our presence. We also this year went to the Center for Community Solutions, understanding that we are all healthcare practitioners in this work. And sometimes people are struggling, they're experiencing burnout. And what we don't want to do is re traumatize people. I tell our staff all the time, we never get a second opportunity to make a first impression. So the Center for Community Solutions actually gave us funds, and we created a new pilot project called Thrive. And this program is for community health workers. It's a 5 week based mental health program designed to equip them with self-awareness, resilience, and well-being strategies on topics such as trauma, empathy, boundaries, and sustainable care practices so that they don't burn out and they're not re-traumatizing clients. Our final pillar, which will be coming in 2026, will be a wellness center. We're looking at light therapy, sound therapy, frequencies to support our families as well. We also distribute diapers on a bi-monthly basis to the community. They do not have to be service connected. So diapers, formula, and wipes. In 2024, we served 491 families through this particular program. I put our next one, which was May 9th. So if you do serve clients here, and I'm sorry, I just realized that this did not update because I had it. So accept my apologies. Our next one is July 17th. The registration opens 2 weeks before every event. So my apologies that this did not update the flyer, but July 17th, it opens 2 weeks before. Registration is on our website at pregnantwithpossibilities.com. We do have a full impact report, which shows and outlines our work. In 2024, we actually served 267 families through our mom program. You can actually scan this QR code. It's on our website. It will just walk you through all of our work, why we do what we do, hearing some of our client stories. You should know that 47% of the families who walk through our door have already experienced a negative birth outcome. That's low birth weight, miscarriage, stillbirth prior to walking through our door. And we still have a 79% full term delivery rate of 37 weeks or greater. So we also have a 60% breastfeeding rate for up to 3 months, which is great. Our goal is to support families on their lactation journey, understanding that it impacts infant mortality so that families can thrive. And so we're grateful that we have a 60% breastfeeding rate where our families are actually actively breastfeeding. These are ways that you can support us. We do have an Amazon wish list. You can find that on our website. You can scan any of these QR codes, but also find them at pregnantwithpossibilities.com. And if you want to connect with us, here are the ways to do so through our website, our email, and our direct phone number. I saw a couple of questions in the chat. We are connected to OEI, Ohio Equity Institute here in Cuyahoga County. We are one of their partners, and we distribute families. We are one of the navigation partners to navigate families. And consenters who are 92% below income get diapers. So we do not actually track income for our diaper distribution. So they did not have to give us that information. As long as they register in advance, we will serve them. I think those are the two questions that I saw.
Thank you so much, Veranda. Certainly, if there are more questions, feel free to pop off mute or drop them in the chat. We have a couple minutes left, so I want to give space and make sure that any questions that you all have are able to be answered.
That means I did a good job if there's no questions.
That's right. You did a great job. That was such a fantastic overview. I know you all do so much, and it's hard to, condense it into a short presentation. That was really excellent. The slides will be available. Absolutely. Yes, we'll send out an email afterward. There will also be a recording you can reference back to if you'd like. There's a question, is this for all counties? Are you
We actually
serving other
only serve
areas?
Cuyahoga County at this time.
I saw earlier in the chat, somebody had said 3 to 5 day connection for perinatal mental health support is just astonishing. And I'm just curious, we have data showing that 91.2% of women are screened for postpartum depression, but of those women who are screened positive for postpartum depression specifically, only 46.1% of them actually received counseling. That was in 2021. But I'm wondering if you have thoughts or insights as to why that might be, the disconnect between screening positive and actually being connected to services.
Yes, well, sometimes there's a wait time. So once you get screened, there's typically an assessment that happens, and then you have to go through that assessment, look at the diagnosis. And so if there's a long period of time in between getting a diagnosis and creating a treatment plan for how you best support that individual, sometimes it leads to clients not being served. We also sometimes see issues with insurance. Grateful that we have a system that our system automatically tracks and checks insurance one day before a client comes in, and even up to 3 hours prior to their visit. But if insurance is an issue or they don't have insurance, because we also have the pregnant with possibility side, we also help link clients to insurance platforms and getting them enrolled so that we eliminate some of those barriers as well. But there's also a stigma around therapy and sometimes a disconnect. I tell our clients all the time, we have several therapists who work here. This one may not actually work with who you are, and so don't give up on therapy because you don't have a connection to that particular therapist. It just may mean that you may need someone else, and that is okay. If you need to find someone else who better aligns with who you are, I'll also tell our staff that you have to build rapport. People are not going to walk into your office and spill out all of their life history and story if they don't trust you and build rapport, which is why we created the model that we did, because this is an environment that when they come in here for therapy, it's not their first time walking through the door. They actually see someone who they've been with for 4 to 5 months prior to now entering therapy. We do warm handoffs, and it's more of a connection that eliminates some of the mistrust.
Thank you so much for that, Veranda. And in closing, how can individuals and organizations help support your efforts?
We are always looking to partner with agencies. So, as I shared our contact information, pregnantwithpossibilities.com, we would love to, one, figure out how we can create synergy. One, you know who we are now. Please just share the word. That is also another way that you can connect us with and send us referrals. We can send you a direct referral form. You can actually send referral forms through our website, but also connect with our team. Our director of programs or our staff is always available to schedule meetings just to figure out how we can collaborate.
Thank you again so much, Veranda, for your time and for the work that you do. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks for joining another weekly morning meeting with Groundwork Ohio. Join us again next week for some more conversation, and take good care, everyone. Thank you.